Hey there everybody, this is Joseph Snyder. This is my animation presenting quasars. Starting with the definition of a quasar, which would be a star-like object that may send out radio waves and other forms of energy. Many have large red shifts. But of course we don't need that last part because we're talking about quasars. The last part's kind of useless. So, what is a quasar? Let's find out. Here is a picture of a quasar. As you can see, it looks like some kind of swirling galaxy with a beam of light going through it. Oh, and this one's my favorite because it looks like some kind of pepperoni mustard mix with a toothpick going through it. I'm hungry. But I can't get food right now. I need to keep on talking about quasars. So, how is a quasar formed? Let's find out. Quasars were discovered in the late 1950s. Scientists, after discovering radio emissions near the celestial bodies when first discovered them, concluded that quasars are a very recognizable property. They are intense sources of radio waves. At first, after recognizing this property, scientists called quasars quasi-stellar radio source. But then they shortened it to the name quasars. Shortly after quasars were discovered, scientists began to observe the quasar. They discovered something very unusual. They saw spectral emission lines where some quasars were previously. They could not identify exactly what it was. In the 1960s, after careful observation, scientists concluded that those emission lines were formed by the quasar itself. The quasar, as scientists proposed, had undergone a tremendously large redshift, process of shifting the wavelength of the emitted light or celestial bodies towards the red end of the visible spectrum. The result of this process was a quasar that is going at speeds of 93% of the speed of light. Scientists concluded that this is one reason why the universe is constantly expanding. But on to my previous question. How are quasars formed? No one really knows how quasars are formed, but there are many theories behind their information. Some people say that quasars are formed by enormous redshifts in a star, which cause it to gain energy form. Others say that quasars are formed because of supermassive black hole sucking all nearby planets and stars into it and sputtering out large amounts of energy from it. But how about some interesting facts on quasars? Well, for one thing, there have only been 300 quasars that have been identified. The closest quasar is 1,500 million light years from Earth. That's a pretty long distance. Some quasar named 3C273, seriously guys, get actual names for these things, was the first quasar ever discovered and the brightest quasar ever identified. Some quasars look like galaxies, like I said before, only, with like a beam of light going through it. Some people say quasars and many active galaxies are connected. But wait, there's more. How wide is a quasar? Well, a quasar is approximately 1 kiloparsec in width. But what is a kiloparsec? Well, here it is. A kiloparsec is 1,000 parsecs. But what's a parsec? Well, a parsec is 3.26 light years. Yeah, quasars are pretty big. So, that's all I have to say about quasars. Any questions?